Hey everyone, and welcome to the channel. So behind me, we're going to take a look at the all-new 2022 Mercedes Benz EQS 450 Plus. Huge shout out to Mercedes Benz Northlake for providing this fully electric sedan for me today. Check out their website, that link is down in the description. The EQS that you see behind me is finished off in graphite gray metallic, and they have an MSRP just over $102,000. So this has a 107.8 kilowatt lithium ion battery pack that is paired to a single speed transmission. This pumps out 329 horsepower and 417 pound-feet of torque. That power sent to the rear wheels. This weighs in right around 5,600 pounds, but it will do 0 to 60 in 5.9 seconds with a top speed of 130 miles an hour, and it also has a total range of 350 miles. Let's start off with the grille design, because unlike a gasoline-powered version, you don't need quite as much cooling to the front components, so the entire grille is one piece. Now, the Mercedes-Benz badge is also a forward-facing sensor for the adaptive cruise. There's even a forward-facing camera nicely tucked up underneath. Now, this has parking sensors that are integrated throughout. What I love about the DRL is that strip actually continues its way through the upper section of that grille. There's a chrome trim piece just above that. The headlight housing blends in very nicely with the bodywork surrounding it, so it almost looks like one continuous piece. Now, the hood on this does open up, but underneath it is really just windshield washer fluid, as well as access to the battery if you need to jump this or jump another car. So it is accessible, not a whole lot. There's no storage or anything. But for the side design, this has a set of 21-inch wheels with the two-tone color. This also has regenerative braking as well. There's more chrome trim surrounding the windows. It's also on the two-tone door handles and running along the lower section. For the rear, this has the LED taillights with a connector bar running right through the middle of that power trunk. There's the badge over on that left side. All of the backup sensors are right in the middle. This even has a small trunk-mounted spoiler. And now, working our way to the cargo space, I can actually use the Mercedes-Benz badge to open this up. You can use the key fob as needed. You have a lot of room when the back seat's up. There's even some storage up underneath the floor. So if I open this up, pretty deep compartment. I might be able to fit my camera bag under there. And then you can also fold the back seats down and remove that cover if you need to. It gives you a lot more interior space. As you can tell, the door handles are now flush with the bodywork. In order to get in, I just need to put enough pressure on the door handle for it to pop out. You can use the back section to lock it, and you can do that in all four corners. Now, for this door panel, it's finished off in leather and some very nice brush trim surrounding the release handle. This has the Burmester audio sound system. Lock and unlock is finished off in brushed aluminum. There's some piano black surrounding that and a decent amount of room in the lower section of the door. I have plenty of room for my feet and my legs. There's also a storage bin behind both front seats. Right in the middle are two air vents, and then all of the climate controls that you need. And then right in the middle, there is an armrest. You can also fit your phone right in this little storage area there that pops out, which is pretty neat to see. The door panel's finished off just like the rear. However, there's the addition of all the memory seating adjustments. These are heated and ventilated. You can actually adjust the passenger front seat by pushing on that and using all those controls. There's lock and unlock, the power folding side mirror adjustments, all the window controls, even a release for that rear hatch. Using these buttons over on the left side of the steering wheel, underneath that is all the cruise and adaptive cruise control settings. So if I push on home right now, you can see the assistance, which was just shown. If I click on the navigation, so you have a lot of graphics for that. There's also different driving modes or graphic modes that you can choose from, just depending on what you feel. So as you can tell, we have two there. The last one is understated. And if I go back to classic now, when you go into this mode, you can actually scroll through a lot of information within the center. So just like an ordinary digital gauge cluster with all this information that you can monitor, these are all the adjustments for the heads-up display. So just depending on the information that you'd like to see, you can go through settings, you can even shut it off too. Now, over on this right side, all of these controls are for the center infotainment system, and then underneath that there's Bluetooth and voice commands along with volume for the radio, and even a favorites button, so you can configure that depending on what you use the most. So currently we are looking at the navigation. It is currently set up with a destination, and that will actually pop up on the far right of that heads-up display. So it's nice to have that, of course. And then if you want to go through some more of this information, you can use all of these shortcuts down below. So we have a shortcut to dynamic. This is the different driving modes, where there's eco, comfort, you have sport mode, and an individual mode. There's also a shortcut to the camera system, so you can see the top-down view along with the different angles, just depending on what you'd like to see. Now, right in the middle is an EQ button. So if I push on that, you can monitor the charge. You have the charging, your standard program here that you can go into, just depending on where you're charging as well. You can look at your range along with your consumption too. Now, as you can tell, this screen is much wider than it appears with the navigation. So you have all of that information nicely laid out. And as you can tell, the lower section has been fixed. So this is for all of the temperature adjustments. You have your fan speed, the climate menu right in the middle to go through all of that. If I open this up, you have a lot more space with 2 cup holders, a wireless charging pad, some auxiliaries, a little bit more space on that left side. And if I close this up, we can take a look at even more storage space up underneath. There's a massive amount of room, including the center armrest, where you have a lot more room. This is finished off in more of that Alcantara. And then over on the passenger side, you'll notice that there's a third screen. Now, you do have to be sitting here in order for this power button to appear, and it looks just like the infotainment system as well as the gauge cluster. So you can go through the EQ and monitor all this information just like you saw earlier. We can go into the navigation too. So you pretty much have 4 different screens to view this navigation on all 3 of these, and even the heads-up display. There's phone and radio along with media, and you can go into your comfort as well as different settings too. And then underneath that, just by pushing on this button, the glove box will appear, where you have a good amount of room for all of that information. This is probably one of the coolest electric vehicles that I've been behind the wheel of, simply because of the amount of technology and screens that are in this model. So unlike some of the other brands that are offered where there's maybe just 1 screen in the middle or not even a gauge cluster screen, this has 3 different screens plus the size of this heads-up display. Now, this is on the lower trim level, I'll say, for the EQS. They are going to come out with ones that are a little bit more powerful. So I believe there's going to be 2 more that are even more powerful. So this is the base version in a sense, and we'll give it some gas here, or some power. And you hear nothing, you're up to speed just like that. If we put it to sport mode, you'll hear a little graphic there letting you know that you are into the next mode. So we'll give it another quick acceleration. And maybe the camera can pick up the ambient lighting is actually turning colors right now, which is pretty interesting to see. We'll give it an acceleration here so that way you can see that again, because I did not know that. And it's white, it's red. That's pretty cool, little gimmicky, but that's what you get with the ambient lighting strip. So I could see this being a great daily driver because aside from being electric, it's also very comfortable and quiet. So you hear no engine, no exhaust, no wind, not really much road noise. I'm going about 45 miles an hour. That's going to be about the speed for today. And you could drive this every day. We have a range of around 350 miles or so. It is so quiet as you would expect. I still have the 1 pedal braking on basically in the strongest setting. So I really don't have to tap the brake. And we'll give it an acceleration. You hear some sound effects coming from those speakers, almost like you're in a spaceship with the lighting. I don't know if the camera can pick that up as well, but definitely cool to see that. I do love the amount of technology that's offered, and I don't know if the camera can pick up the heads-up display, but it is pretty large right now. It's one of the biggest heads-up display screens that I've personally seen, and being a fully electric vehicle, personally I would think that this is a better city driving vehicle just because you have to find where to charge it and things like that. But if you're buying an electric vehicle, you know what you're getting into, I hope, as far as having to charge it. You can charge it at home, so that way when you leave for the morning, it's ready to go. But as far as long distance, still positives and negatives to filling up a gasoline vehicle and waiting to charge a vehicle. But for the car that it is from Mercedes-Benz with this fully electric vehicle, I think it's pretty awesome. And we'll give it one less acceleration for today's video. And we're up to speed. Not crazy quick, but it'll get up and move. It is a heavy sedan. But I think that's going to wrap it up for this walk around review and test drive behind the wheel of this 2022 Mercedes-Benz EQS 450 Plus. Once again, huge shout out to Mercedes-Benz Northlake for providing this for me today. Check out their website, give the video a huge thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and smash that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with our daily uploads. I will see you all in the next video.